Today, I will share some very important insights with you, what it means to be on time. What is that to you? What is that to the culture you come from? And how is that in the environment or the people that you deal with on your side of the world? How does it affect you? So you will walk away with some really key insights and something that will set you apart big time if you listen to my advice. At least that's my opinion. I would love to hear yours. All right, if you know already now that you'd like to know a little bit more about this, there's a link for you right in the description that you can click on. So go there right now. If not, continue watching and I'll teach you more. So being on time, what does it really mean to you? What culture are you from? How old are you? What generation are you? Are you a Gen X, a Gen Z, a millennium, or a baby boomer? Well, I think back in the day, meaning baby boomers kind of thing where I am in, people born in the 60s and 70s, I guess, somehow, deal a little bit different with time that people are doing now. And also, I've lived in many different countries, or I wouldn't say it that way. I have been to many countries and experienced many cultures, and it sure is very different. But even within the same culture, there are wide differences there too. So it has something to do with personalities and how you're brought up, what you're led to believe is the right thing, or whatever it is that you are used to. And there's many psychological thoughts around how people show up for appointments. And I think sometimes people crave attention and they may be late for that reason, or they may be very early to get attention that way too. What do you think is best? I will share with you what I think is best, and then we can take it from there. So let's see what we got going here, all right? Let me start with a story, something I learned from my father. So I moved to the US in the mid-80s, and I lived there for a little over 30 years. My father and mother had to take me to the airport. My father was a businessman, and we would leave like, the normal trip to the airport would be about an hour and a half, 2 hours. And we would buffer in an extra hour and a half in addition to the 2 hours we needed to be there before the flight to leave. And I was like, and the story that my father told me is like, well, what if you have a flat tire? Or what if there's an accident on the road? Or what if this and that? So he had planned for something to delay him so that he wouldn't miss it. Now, that's obviously we're going to catch a plane. That's very important. And I have another story that is going to relate right to that later on. That was important for us. We needed to be on time. You missed the flight. Hey, you're screwed. So that's a big thing. And or if it's a train or another means of transportation, a ferry that you need to make. Those things are big things that you need to consider, and how do you show up for them? So keep that in the back of your mind a little bit, okay? So what are you really communicating when you show up on time, or is it good? Do you show respect for the other person? What kind of image, what kind of stigma or reputation do you create for yourself? Those things are really important because that communicates really who you are and what you're about. Can they rely on you? Can you be counted on? Those things are really big when it comes to relationship in business. As a matter of fact, I didn't think I was going to share this story here, but I just thought of, there was another guy that was going to help us with a new business opportunity here in an online forum. And we set up I clicked on his calendar, and he said, you just click on the calendar. I will move the calendar up so that because I could only schedule it at 10, but I needed to meet with him at 8. And he said, don't worry, I will fix the calendar, this and that. And golly, wouldn't you know it, he never showed up. And then he comes back several days later, excusing himself. First of all, that was insulting to me. And first of all, it was insulting me in the first place when he didn't even keep the promise that he said. So of course, I didn't want to do business to him at all. I just rolled back to him. We are no longer interested. And I told him bluntly not to put you down, I said, but to give you constructive feedback. How can we rely on you and your product and services if you can't even show up for a simple appointment that you clearly stipulated yourself? So I'm pretty hardcore when it comes to those things, and I form opinions very quickly when people don't show up on time. Do I make it a negative point for me? Not really, but I also, at the same time, those things shows a lot of character and tells me a lot about the person, at least for me. So I don't know how you are in that regards. Some people are used to it because they're always late. And guess what happens? That's a ripple effect, if you ask me, because the way you do one thing is the way you do everything. It's a really key point that I'm bringing forward here. And that's kind of where I'm going with this, because it's very important to be on time. So anyway, it's not going to be a lecture here. I'm just telling you some of my experiences. So let's move on to the next one. And there's a lot of magic in being on time. And I'll get to that statement in a little bit here as well. So, but also, how do you get to be on time? Are you prepared with the information that you need to bring with you? Is your car running? Is there traffic? You want to do whatever you can to make sure you have success when it comes to being on time. And that takes planning. You should assume accidents to be happening. You should assume there's traffic. You should assume a lot of these things. You should assume this, that, and the other. And you need to also train the people around you that, hey, here's how I operate. Here's how I function. Here's how you need to be with me in these situations. Because if somebody else comes to you where they were supposed to give you some information and they're delayed, guess what? It's going to ripple effect over to you. And you don't want to have that kind of scenario. And that's why I'm very particular with my cohort too, or when my wife and I were going to go somewhere, I want to tell her, okay, we need to leave at such and such a time. Today, we're actually going to a lobster party, and already called the people that we're going to pick up. My wife and I know when we're going to leave from here. We called another person we're going to pick up on, a second person we're going to pick up on the way. So everyone is online. And I'll tell you a story here that's really good later on that you'll enjoy hearing how one of my mentors dealt with that. So here it comes. Here's the story. A mentor of mine, she was actually, Carolyn is her name. She was going to have a lunch appointment with a lady, another friend of hers, at 12 noon. And she showed up about 10 minutes early, Carol, and she was waiting for her friend. 12 o'clock came and went. 12:05 came and went. 12:10 came and went. 12:15 came and went. And even 12:20, she was waiting till 12:20. Then she left. And wouldn't you know it, like 4 or 5 minutes after that, the other lady called and says, hey, Carolyn, I'm here. Where are you? I said, I left. I was waiting, and I was ahead of time, and I was waiting for you, and I thought you'd never show up. I said, so, but I'm here now. I was just running a few minutes late. Here's what Carol's response was. Listen to this. If I was a train or a plane, would you have been on time? Would you be on time? And she just kept quiet. And the other lady said, but this was a lunch appointment. Okay, so that means you deem it's less important for you to be on time for somebody that's a friend and that you have an appointment with, as opposed to a train. So I'm less important than that. End of story. And then she just said, no more. We don't need to discuss that any further. Now you know where I stand. So brilliant story, I think, and a brilliant example too. Why would she not respect the other person? That's very, very important. So now I was on one of my mastermind calls the other day, and I always show up early unless there's something happens. So things can happen for everyone, even including me, but I always show up early. I'm early for an appointment. That means if I have an online appointment, I make sure I have everything organized, and I will log in 2, 3, 4 minutes early, sometimes 1 minute early if I got everything under control, and then I hang out and wait till other people come. Before I go into that story I want to show you here right now, I was part of another high-end networking event. And it's kind of an interesting thing I thought of here. I didn't think of talking about that. You know how we shake hands with people? This is one of the things that we learn in this group. When you shake hands with people, people tend to look down and find the hand. If you were told, never look down, you will always see where the hand is. Look straight forward in that person's eyes and take your hand out and shake it. And guess what? They're going to be looking up and you're already staring at them. It's I wouldn't say a psychological trick, but it shows very confident that you are right there in his eyes when he's coming up, having looked for the hand. Most people will look for the hand. Don't look for the hand. Just look straight forward and you're right there when he or she shakes your hand. So here's a brilliant story. So the other day we were going to be on my mastermind group. This is a group I've been in for over 20 years. And my friend Mark, he usually starts the calls, and I always know he shows up early. So I figured I was like 4 or 5 minutes before the other guys would be at the top of the hour. So I clock in, which I normally do. And there's Mark. And I start talking to him. And he's senior to me by a few years. And I said, wow, isn't it amazing with people being on time? And he says the following to me. On time is late. Early is on time. That's one thing he had learned from his father. And isn't that beautiful? Let that one sink in. If you want to stand out, if you want to be different, if you want to make an impression, you train yourself to be on time. Factor in delays, factor in things that could happen. Be early, be prepared, and psychologically and everything, and you're going to stand out from the crowd like a sore thumb, especially in this environment. Why not be different? You should always try to be different. And that's why you stand out in a good way by showing up on time. And I've seen so many examples too where I've showed up early for conferences, this and that, and I get to mingle with maybe the speaker or other people that are also there early. And those are key people you want to pay attention to. Those are the kind of people you want to put in your mastermind. You want to at least give them an extra thumbs up because they have a certain trait that many other people don't have. And those are the kind of people you want to have in your group that you can count on. I know this is not about masterminds now, but it's certainly a big trait of the mastermind group as well. Showing up on time and not being late. So, hey, if you liked what you heard, I want you to check out my other videos, click like and comment on my video as well, and become part of my group. If you want to learn about masterminds and how they work and how they can be of help to you, I'm your man. I got 26 plus years experience in organizing and leading and conducting, I wouldn't say, my mastermind, starting on mastermind groups. And my mastermind groups are tight. They're 4 to 6 people max. And everyone gets to know each other. And you better show up on time in my mastermind groups. As a matter of fact, the way we do it in our mastermind group, the one that comes in first gets to speak first, and so on and so forth. The one that comes in last has to wait all the way till the end. And sometimes we run out of time. Guess what? Show up, you snooze, you lose. So there you go. If you like what you hear, click on the link below. Schedule a call with me if you want to ask some more questions or wonder about the masterminds. They are a godsend, and I think they will be for you as well. So we'll do our famous high five, and thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you on the other side. Ciao, ciao.